right, so we are officially into week 7 of Nexus Fantasy Football. We just wrapped up week 6, and I got myself and JB. Got a lot of good talking points about this week. I thought this week was very interesting in terms of matchups for how things went. And we'll just kind of go down the line here on some of these. I got to give props to Brandon's team, Skull of the Bull. I thought for sure I was running away with this until Monday night, and next thing I know, he comes out from behind me and gets the win. His big performance was what was it here? Obviously, Will Fuller and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce definitely helped him out on Monday night. I was hoping for a little bit better performance from Zach Moss, but it is what it is. My big time guy was Jefferson, pulling it all out. I tell you, this kid is electric. He's not as flashy as Randy Moss, but he definitely perks up the numbers, and saw a statistic this week that he's actually superseded Randy Moss in terms of receiving yards so far through week 6 of his rookie year. So I think if they keep chucking it up to him, he could potentially be breaking some records. And I like the fact that he complements Thielen very nicely. I've got Thielen in one of my other leagues, so anybody who's got Thielen is feeling it, because Thielen leads the NFL in receiving touchdowns with 7. And so even though the team is not productively winning games from a Viking standpoint, the fantasy numbers are there if you got Thielen, Jefferson, or Cook. I would certainly start looking at the tight ends here in the next few weeks as well. I know they haven't had a lot of production, but when you start getting coverages to lean on Thielen and Jefferson, then that's going to leave the tight end wide open. And Irv Smith is one of the guys I would actually look at. I know that Rudy has been the guy in the past, but I think he's leaning more towards a blocking tight end. And Irv Smith has definitely got the range and the speed to elevate the field and make some scores and get some points. So on that, that's what I've got. But congratulations to Brandon getting that win, knocking me off that first place position. Had some good numbers there. The next matchup there for this week that I wanted to kind of highlight was Fresh Prince of Hilaire destroys Gus's glorious team with some substantial numbers and the highest points for the week. So George takes the number 1 spot in the league with that win. Great performance as he rolls to 5-1. Let's see here. His top performers, Kyler Murray, which was interesting considering I think the stat line was he completed only 9 of 25 passes. Yeah. But some of those passes were he had the deep shot to Christian Kirk, and I think he also had DeAndre Hopkins on a long pass as well. But yeah, it's pretty gaudy numbers based upon the low number of completions on that one. And then obviously the other surprising one was like 20 points from the kicker. The kicker. Maybe we've been guessing this wrong on putting money on the kicker. As we criticized the kicker last week, but who definitely
absolutely. I think George picked up Young Wei Q for $0 and played him to get 20 points. So no, we've been right on with not spending money on kicker. You can pick one up Sunday and get 20 points.
There you go. Gus's glorious teams, boy. You had some decent numbers. Pat Mahomes. I think this is a rarity to see him hit below projection, but it happens. You can't always guarantee that the top QBs are going to perform well. Seeing out of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers simply sucked this weekend, and went well below projection. So it can happen, but I mean, still for Pat Mahomes, that's a decent game. Just not Pat Mahomes like stellar games. I think where the hurt is Gesicki. Gesicki, man, I got Gesicki in quite a few of my leagues, and it's been frustrating as a Gesicki owner because they talked about, this is, I think, year 2 or 3 for him, should be getting into that grasp of a tight end position, and he's getting targets. He's getting targets earlier, but this week I don't think he got targeted at all. And so you come up with a big old 0, and that hurts. That hurts when you're expecting that he's going to get something. He's usually a red zone target. But Tua comes in, named as a starter this week. That's relatively big news. And I do know that he likes to target his tight end, so it might be worth keeping Gesicki open. Just, hopefully you don't get burned like you did this week. Next one, we got the in-house battle. This one was fun to watch, as I was actually over at Alex and Steph's house this weekend, and we're watching the Falcons Vikings games. He's a big Falcons fan, and obviously I'm the Vikings fan, and so these two were going back and forth about who's going to win, who's going to do what, or what have you. And sorry, I'm looking at the wrong week here. Pull this back up. But it was a close one. It came down to 0.44 points. So that's what, 44 yards difference, essentially.
It was about 5.5.
Sorry, yeah, you're right, 5.5 yards. So yeah, real tight, close matchup. Unfortunately, went to the way of Alex, who's sitting at 3-3. It would have been a big game for Steph if she pulled it out. Sorry, I read that wrong there. I was thinking it was 99.04. Either way, still close matchup, in-house battle. Don't think he could have played it any better, in all reality. You got Gronk coming up with 18 points, but Gronk hasn't done anything all season. And Alex has a lot of empty spots in his rotation, but he still came out with the win. So, what's the other one here?
Yeah, I have a few notes on that one. It says pretty meh matchup in my opinion. Obviously Lamar Jackson going over 30 points, kind of a big deal. I still think you should trade Lamar Jackson, see if you can get a running back or two out of him, kind of sell high. Obviously with Aaron dropping Justin Herbert back to waivers, I would sell high on Jackson, because you definitely have not gotten the projection you expected on draft day. Had to shore up that position so you don't have to play Duke Johnson every week. And then she spent $20 on a defense. I don't know why we're spending half of the waiver funds on a kicker last week and a defense this week. But teach their own. Definitely consider that if you watch this. But yeah, it was good to see that matchup. I thought it was going to be, we talked about it last week. We said it was going to be an interesting one to watch, and it ended up being an interesting one to watch. At pretty much 5-point spread. So.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about Minnesota Madmen, and
Oof.
that was brutal. Lowest points of the season that they've put up. Did they even show up? You know, and why didn't they? Is probably the bigger question I have. You know, Patrick is somebody that I've been kind of watching here for the last few weeks. He's actually went over projection. What we want to say for 3 weeks consecutively now. Was on nobody's radar. If he's available in any of your leagues, which he should be, grab him, snatch him. He's becoming a high target player on Denver's team. So that's a missed opportunity. I can't fault Aaron for not playing him. I mean, because you've got Evans that you're thinking is going to do something special. You got Hollywood Brown, which you're thinking is going to do something special. And you know, obviously those two kind of let you down versus trying to start somebody who's technically unproven in some fantasy gurus' minds. Because if you're like me, you're probably looking to have some sort of consistency before you throw somebody out there like Patrick, where you're looking for him to put numbers up 2 or 3 games in a row. So personally, me, I'm looking to start Patrick next week. If Denver's playing, I can't remember if they are or not. No, we got a lot of bye weeks that's in rotation. Fulgrim's another one.
They've already had their bye week.
Yeah. He's got Fulgrim as well. Again, unproven, kind of hard to start them, but you see a couple of weeks where they're outperforming their projected numbers, and they're getting the targets. So that's a hard one to not play, but I understand it.
Well, the good thing about Tim Patrick, too, anybody in this league can get him. He was dropped this morning. So
What?
He's available.
Write that note down. I will certainly snitch him. It's going to be probably a bidding war now. Yeah. So
yeah, I checked it. I checked the waivers before we came online. You did mention Irv Smith. I had him written down also. We'll get into that a little bit more later.
Yeah. There he is. Waivers. Ugh. I'm excited now. All right.
I can't fault Aaron for doing that. He needs running backs. He's lost all of them. Sanders, Cook on bye, Madison on bye. He lost Mostert, likely going to IR. So it was James White and whatever is on waivers. He spent $26 on Boston Scott. Hopefully he does not get hurt like he did in week 1. Obviously, Miles Sanders could have had a bigger day, but he decided to fumble at the 4-yard line. And one of the receivers, I think, Arcega Whiteside, recovered and scored in the end zone. So Miles Sanders could have had at least 6.4 more points on the day. But it was just not to be in 2020, drafting Miles Sanders in the 2nd round and getting a 2020 worthy performance.
Do you have any other notes on any of the other games? I know we didn't touch about Dream Killers or Thielen myself and the Johnsons versus Minions.
Why did I finally say the Dream Killers and Thielen? Obviously, I mentioned on the group chat, Wentz, all the garbage points. I won't even be mad that Derrick Henry scored 50 points against me. Carson Wentz had like 2 points. He had negative points at halftime, ends up with almost 30. It was like, really? Really, Baltimore? You couldn't stop him? And then obviously Aaron Rodgers That's kind of I was really hoping that he would have at least gotten that run-in touchdown that he had. I thought he scored, and then he did the Hingle McCringleberry. Usually Julio came back in a big way. I tried to trade him this week. It wasn't to be had, and that's too bad for everybody else because it looks like he is back to form. Obviously, defense terrible. Now my kicker has COVID, so I had to figure that out. Thielen's team did not look impressive to me. Half of his bench is on IR, so I was thinking that it might be an okay week to finally get off the schneid. I scored my highest since week 1, and he scored his highest of the season. So it's just 2020 fantasy football.
Yeah, that's
Where you
certainly
place
cool.
and all of their points in the garbage.
And I did call it earlier last week about Julio Jones having a week. So, yeah, that's unfortunate.
You said in our draft recap that he was going to be the best player on my team. So that's still to be seen. And then I don't have much regarding Minions and JJ's team. I see JJ probably thought he had this thing in the bag Sunday, but obviously Kenyon Drake running for a 69-yard garbage touchdown is the difference in this matchup. 10 points. That touchdown netted 12.9. JJ probably went to sleep like we're good. Woke up and saw he took that L. So dropped him to 2-4. Minion squad drops half his team a few weeks ago. Gets them all put back on his team and moves to 4-2 now. So JJ's just kind of cobbling together his running back situation. Obviously, it looks a little better with DeAndre Swift. We did mention McKissick last week as a pickup, and it looks like he found that advice somewhere, picked him up, played him, and got the 14 points. So hopefully better days are ahead. No team is dead yet. There's a lot of 3-3s, and even the 1-5s are still in the mix, and there's only 1-5-1 at the top. But George, I will give him second loss this week. But that's hopes and dreams.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at the matchups for this week here. It's a pretty good one. Myself versus Cheddarheads, 4-2 each team. Right now they're projected to win it, but I'm quite sure I've got some tweaking of my lineups to do. Fresh Prince of Hilaire. Right now it's currently set that you could do the upset. Take him off the top. Rooting for you.
I need some wins, man. I need as many as I can get.
Let's see here. Brandon's projected to win against Thielen and myself, and Aaron is expected to edge out over JJ's team. Jumping Jacks is looking to upset Gus's Glorious's team, and then we've got Alex taking on Minion Squad, and Minion Squad to do some continue on their winning there. So yeah, pretty good matchups there. I would say matchup of the week will probably come down to my matchup versus Cheddarheads. Relatively close scoring game there. Looking at the standings here, we got George's team up top. I'm in second. Brandon's in third. Cheddarheads, followed by Minion Squad. Aaron's team sits in the middle, along with Gus's Glorious team and Alex's daring bench warmers, and then coming out and behind, we've got Thielen, myself, JJ's team, Steph's team, and then JB still at the bottom. One thing that I'm interested about is JJ's team and Thielen, myself. You guys are in the bottom ranks, and you have not spent any money towards getting a better roster. We've mentioned Tim Patrick being on waivers, Irv Smith also still available. There's a lot of players that you can obviously make some moves to do some bidding on and improve your roster and get yourself in a better situation. So if you're not spending money now, I don't know what you're waiting on. This you don't get paid out at the end of the season. You don't actually get your $100 free agent waiver money back to you or anything like that. This is monopoly money. Might as well spend it. Don't hold on to it.
Yeah, there's a few guys besides Patrick and Irv Smith that I had written down. I just kind of took a quick look at waivers. Gus Edwards on bye this week. Obviously, news came out about Mark Ingram, mid to high ankle sprain. He may be fine next week, but if you can pick up Gus Edwards for $0 right now, you might have a potential starter next week. When Ingram went out, I think he ended up getting between 10 and 14 carries on Sunday. Obviously, he only turned it into 26 yards, which isn't great. But when you're in that offense and you know that they're running and they want to stop Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards can do it. He had a couple 100-yard games last year behind, or 2 years ago behind Lamar Jackson. So he's definitely capable. And then there's a few tight ends that I was looking at. Anthony Firkser for Tennessee. He had 8 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown Sunday, in relief of Jonnu Smith, who got hurt right away. I had to hear about it all day from a friend of mine who has Jonnu Smith and essentially quit in that league. You obviously have to pay attention to Jonnu Smith news. If he's out, Firkser would definitely plug in. Tannehill likes throwing to his tight ends. Trey Burton on bye week this week. He's been a favorite of Philip Rivers since he's come back from IR. Obviously, Mo Alley Cox and Jack Doyle being, well, Jack Doyle. Trey Burton may be a pickup if you're hurting a tight end. And then the guy we talk about every week, Gerald Everett, obviously getting a piece of the Los Angeles Rams is a big deal. He's been involved and can break the big play. He's definitely held back Tyler Higbee this year from being a tight end one, but he is definitely involved enough to produce for your team if you need help at tight end.
Yeah, I agree on some of these tight end names that you mentioned. I know I had Mo Alley Cox before, and seeing his target share significantly drop down once Trey Burton came into the mix. So Trey Burton and Jack Doyle, both those tight ends, definitely are taking some reps away. And so if being that both those are available, I agree that Rivers is hitting those guys, and you should definitely take in consideration those. We mentioned Irv Smith; he's still also on available. So if you're looking at potential tight ends who could give you a boost there, I would certainly look at those guys. Gerald Everett, as you mentioned, and what was the other one here that I was looking at?
Firkser, the third one from the top.
Yeah, Firkser as well. Even Darren Fells has had some pretty decent games. Again, with tight ends, when they have a ton of investment into them, but if you have a tight end that's rolling into a bye week and these guys are available, it certainly wouldn't hurt to drop a player that's not doing you any good. And if you got to put somebody in to fill that bench spot or whatever, these guys are very capable of doing some damage there. See if we have any notable wide receivers real quick here. Tim Patrick, we mentioned him before. Zach Pascal also had a pretty decent game last week, is worth mentioning. James Washington actually got a score this week as well. Yeah, those are probably
the Pittsburgh wide receivers is so hard now with them trying to get Claypool the ball, as well as Juju Smith-Schuster. Deontay Johnson should be coming back healthy. They're still trying to get the ball to Eric Ebron. So it's kind of a dart throw for James Washington at this point, but he may be worth a bench stash if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I would certainly look at these guys, see what their targets are looking at, and really kind of go off of that as to, all right, how many times they're being approached each game. Let's see here.
Yeah, one important note related to targets. Don't just look at the target number, because obviously you look at the target number, it could have 30 targets like N'Keal Harry. I think 12 or 13 of those came in week 2, and he hasn't seen much since then. So you want to look at the trends and see if it's trending up or if it's trending down. If it's trending down, you may want to look somewhere else.
Yep. And that's a great example here. I mean, you got Larry Fitzgerald, quite a few targets, has a big game in week 2, but overall he's trending lower than what his average projections are week to week. So obviously, kind of know what you're getting into there. Again, Tim Patrick, more target shares in the last few weeks, has definitely trended up above his average projection in the last 3 weeks. So again, this guy is hot. He's on fire right now. All right. Don't have any trades to talk of, but we do have a guy that's looking to trade Minnesota Madmen. That's Aaron, looking for a wide receiver, running back, tight end. So if you have somebody of those nature, and you want to will and deal, that's your guy. Let's see here. Anything else?
No, it's just obviously waivers is getting a little thin. May want to start looking at the trade market. This is the point in the season where you really start to consolidate. You either start to consolidate your team or build depth. The teams that are making it to the playoffs are definitely looking to bolster their team. They're probably going to offer you two decent players for your one good player. If you need the wins, do not hesitate to pull the trigger on a deal like that. I know I basically ended up trading Michael Thomas for James Robinson, Tyler Boyd, and Devontae Parker. So, I mean, trades like that are not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, and
just don't overvalue your players. I believe we've said this numerous times throughout the season. If you overvalue your players, you're going to be stuck with your supposedly overvalued players, regardless of whether or not they're performing.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example of what you have done in this league compared to what I've done in other leagues. I've got Michael Thomas in another league. I've been holding on to him, and right now I am having drafters regret because I want to use him. Obviously once he starts producing those points, because you have this feeling that he's going to get a lot of target shares. But I mean, we're talking week 6, week 7. I've gotten a big fat zero holding on to Michael Thomas, whereas I'm quite sure you've already reaped some benefits out of your trade. So again, don't put too much weight into the name of a player. Use them like a stock trade. You know, if they're hot, you know, buy them low, sell them high. All right. Yeah, that's all I've got. Anything else there, JB?
No. Obviously the typical standard, like Nexus Sports on all types of social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Like and subscribe to the Nexus Sports channel on YouTube here. Sure, you're going to talk about the 5-on-5 contact for TC. So I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, so just real quick, got a lot of things that are going on. We've got 6 versus 6, winter 1 starting up in a couple of weeks. Really excited. We got 12 teams in for that, so it's going to be some great competition, a lot of variety of different teams, a lot of new teams too, a lot of new team names that were coming up out of that league. We got 5 versus 5 registration wide open right now. Registration closes November 7th, so we got about 3 weeks here. Get your registration, get your teams in. We're going to cap it at 8 teams. For that league. Should be a lot of fun. We've got some interesting new rules and concepts for that league just to try to get a new variance there. We've got indoor volleyball tournament, October 31st, Halloween night, runs from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. or excuse me, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. over at the West St. Paul Dome. And registration is still open there. We're about half full in the league, but I wouldn't wait until last minute to register for that one. All of our volleyball tournaments have sold out a week in advance to the event actually happening. So definitely get your teams in for that. Great competition, great event. Got a little costume prizes going on for that. And I've heard that there's a full team that is going to be dressed up for this event. So it should be fun and interesting. If you can't commit to a tournament or a league, we do have pickup games. We've got pickup games going on this weekend at the West St. Paul Dome, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. We're offering space for flag football pickup and volleyball pickup. So we just got hit with a bunch of snow, so I don't see too many outdoor activities going on anymore, or at least in the near future. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities. It's a spacious dome, so the air is circulated, ventilated, and filtrated. There they got this nice iodizing system to keep the air sanitized. So if you want to try out the facility, it's definitely plenty of space, much wider than a gym or what have you. But yeah, and then also
DFLers will fight for your health care in the Minnesota State Legislature.
Whoa.
The coronavirus.
Don't know how we got noise going in there. And then the last thing was starting October 31st, we got some swag products that are coming out. Got some gaiters with the Nexus logo on the face mask. So if you want to purchase those, we're selling those for $10, and those will become available October 31st. Lots of different colors for those. So if you want variety, you can definitely purchase those at nexussportshub.com. That's all I've got. Thanks again for watching. Hope those who have followed us on this are learning some things about fantasy football if you're new to the sport. And, best of luck to all teams this week as we are now officially midway through the season, start getting up into the playoffs, and it should be fun, interesting.